So this is what we're going to do. We're going to play a game. This is a science game. It's going to teach our brains something new today. It's called sink or float.
Oh.
What does it mean if something sinks? What does that mean? Do you know? Tell me with your words. What does that mean if something is sinking?
Sink.
Tell me with your words.
It's kind of good.
So when something's sinking, that means that when you put it in water, it just goes all the way down to the bottom. It sinks down.
Yeah, like the ocean.
Just like in the ocean. Sometimes when you're on a boat, they put an anchor down and it sinks down to the bottom. But also, when you're on a boat, the boat stays on top of the water. That's called floating. Have you guys ever floated in a swimming pool before? Lay on a floaty and you just kind of float across the top?
Yes.
So we're going to play a game called Sink or Float. And we're going to put different objects in our bowls. And we want to see which ones sink, which means to go down to the bottom. Or we want to see which ones are going to float. That means the ones that stay right on the top. So I have these investigating forms for you. So here's the objects we're going to try. We're going to try a spoon and craft sticks. Yep. What about this one?
Quarter.
That's a penny.
Penny.
And this one?
Pencil.
Yep.
And
Pom-poms. Yeah. So the first thing we're going to do is a prediction. That means we're going to guess in our brains what do we think is going to happen. Do we think it's going to sink or float? And then we're going to try it and we're going to see if what we thought in our brains, if that matches. Okay? So everybody gets one of this. One for you, Holden. One for Kason. One for Natalia. And one for me. And then I have some markers that we can make some marks on our paper. One for Holden, one for Kason, one for Natalia, one for me. Let's put our tops on the bottoms of our markers, please. So let's think about the first one. The very first one is a spoon. Do you guys think it's going to sink or float?
float.
You think it's going to float? Let's go to this one right here and we're going to make a check mark. Float, because I agree. I think it's going to float. Kason, what do you think? Do you think it's going to sink or float?
What you doing?
We're doing a project. Give us a few minutes, please, Jaden.
Mickey.
You can have a turn right after this one. Okay?
You walk.
Yep. I will let you know when it's your turn. What did you think, Kason? Sink or float?
Sink.
You think it's going to sink? All right, this one is sink. What did you think? What do you think is going to happen? Holden, sink or float?
Sink.
Okay, that one is sink. You can make a mark right there. Make a mark, Holden. All right, now I'm going to give everybody a spoon so we can try it. And let's see what's going to happen. All right, I'll hold your spoon. You can put it into the water. And let's see if it sinks or floats. Okay, go ahead, give it a try. Nope, just put it in. Just drop it in. Is it floating at the top or did it sink down to the bottom?
Sink.
It floated right at the top. It stayed at the top. Look at it, Natalia. It stayed right here at the top. See, that's the bottom down here. It stayed at the top, so that means that it's floating. So we're going to mark float right down there. That's what actually happened. That one's yours, Kason. Here you go, Kason. That one's yours. And then this one is yours, Holden. This one is yours, Natalia. So you guys are going to mark float right down here. Float. So was your prediction right?
It just float.
Right down here is float. Was your prediction right? You said it was going to sink, but it actually floated. Was it right?
Float is right.
Yeah, but you said sink, so it's not right, but that's okay. Yeah, that's how we find out new things.
I can do this.
All right, so now I'm gonna move the spoons out. I'm busy right now. I'll get with you as soon as I'm done with this. All right, so what's next on our list to try?
Car.
A car. So, Mark, what do you think is gonna happen? Do you think it's gonna sink or float?
Float.
You think it's gonna float? Float. You think it's gonna float or sink? Hold it.
Float.
Okay, there's float right there. What do you think, Kason?
Float.
Okay, float. What do you think, Natalia? You think it's gonna float right there? I think the car is gonna sink. I think it's gonna sink down to the bottom. All right, let me see your checklist again. Hold on to these so we can actually try it out. We're gonna test it and see what happens. A car for Holden, car for Kason, car for Natalia. All right, drop them in and let's see what happens. Oh, did they sink or float? They sink. Yeah, they went straight down to the bottom.
But mine landed.
They're sinking. There
But
you
mine
go.
landed.
Let's mark sink for this one. The cars sink. Car sink. The car sink. The car sink. All right. What's next on our list? Craft sticks. All right, let's see if I have some craft sticks in my little bucket here. Oh, I do. All right, before I pass them out, what do you guys think they're going to do? Do you think they're going to float at the top? Or do you think they're going to sink to the bottom? You think they're going to float? All right, let's mark float. Float for craft sticks. Float. Right here. Float for craft sticks. You got to go down one, hold it. Go down one. Next to craft sticks. Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's float. All right, let's try it out. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. There's a craft stick for you. Oh, whoopsies. Sorry about that, friend. One for you, Kason. One for you, Natalia. All right, let's see. Drop them in. What did they do? They are floating at the top.
And they landed.
Let's see. We all marked float. So we were all right this time. They floated. That one's for you. So you're going to mark it float right there. Kason, mark float right there.
There's still empty for one.
And then you mark float right there.
And next is honey.
Yeah. Okay. So what would you say was next?
Penny.
Penny is next. All right. So this is little penny. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. It's kind of small. It's little penny. What do you think is gonna happen? Do you think it's gonna float at the top or sink down to the bottom? Oh, we got some different opinions here.
Sink.
Oh, so you changing your mind? You think it's gonna sink? What do you think, Natalia? You think it's gonna sink down to the bottom? All right, let's mark. Be careful. I don't want you to drop that into the water, Kason. Let's mark sink. So right there, sink. Sink. Sink.
Yay.
All right. Now, you ready to try it?
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
What are you gonna think?
Oh, I think it's gonna sink. I forgot to mark mine, didn't I? Hold on. Thank you for that reminder. I think it's going to sink, just like you guys. Let's see what's gonna happen. Some pennies. Natalia, Kason, Holden.
Where's one?
All right, drop them in. Let's see. What happened? They went right down to the bottom. You were right. You were right. Go kids. Big brains. Go kids. Big brains. All right, let's mark it on our list. Hold it. It went to sink right there. Kason, it did sink right there. And Natalia, sink right there. Well, I'm looking at our list. How many more do we have to try?
Two.
2 more. Okay, what's next on our list?
Pencil.
A pencil. This is a tricky one. I don't know. Pencil.
Sink.
Will it sink or float? Here's a pencil.
Sink.
You think it's gonna sink? Why do you think it's gonna sink?
I mean.
No, tell me why you think it's gonna sink.
I changed my mind.
Okay, so why do you think it's gonna float?
Because maybe because it looks like a boat.
Because you think it kind of looks like a boat? So you think it'll float like a boat? Okay. What do you think, Casey?
Sink.
Why do you think it's gonna sink?
It's so heavy.
Because it's heavy, so you think it's gonna sink down?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think, Natalia?
Float.
Why do you think it's gonna float? Hold on to it, Casey, so it don't fall in the water, okay, friend? You too, Natalia. Hold on to it.
That didn't fall in the water.
Thank goodness, that was a close call. Why do you think it's gonna float? I also think it's gonna float. I think it's gonna float because it's kind of light. You see how easily it moves in my hand? So I think that's why it might float. So I'm gonna mark float. I'm gonna mark float on mine. What did you say? Float? Okay, right there.
Float.
And you said sink, right?
I said float.
Okay, your float is right there. You can mark it on your sheet. All right, let's give it a try this time around. Okay, here's one pencil for you. One pencil for you. One pencil for you. All right, drop them in. Let's see. Did they sink or float?
You and me are right.
Yeah, they float. They did not sink down to the bottom.
One pencil did get to push another pencil down.
Yeah, it was kind of pushing it down, but I just moved it off top of that pencil, and that pencil went floating right back up, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Fantastic. All right. All right, you can put float. It did float.
No pom-pom.
And then you can put float right there because those pencils
Where did you say?
right there. And then float right there. All right, what's the last one, friends?
Pom-pom.
Pom-poms. Oh, this is another tricky one. What do you guys think the pom-poms are gonna do? Why do you think it's gonna float?
Because it's soft.
Because it's soft. Okay. What do you think, Casey?
Float.
Okay. Why do you think it's gonna float?
It's so soft.
Because it's so soft. Okay. What you think, Natalia? Why do you think it's gonna float? Okay. I'm not sure if it's gonna sink or float. Cause here's what I'm thinking. If we put it in the water, it might fill up with water, and then the water might pull it down. But then also, I'm like, yeah, it might float because it's so soft. It might stay at the top. I don't know. I think I'm gonna choose. Sink. I think I'm gonna choose sink.
Sink.
All right, you said float. You can mark it right there. Did you say sink or float?
Float.
Okay, float is right there. And which one did you say? Float. All right, let's test it out this time. Let's see what happens.
I'm so excited.
Oh, you didn't write sink or float. If you said float, it's right there.
Float right here.
Don't worry about the cat face and just go ahead and mark float for me. Mark your float. Perfect. Thank you.
I got C.
All right, grab a pom-pom. All right, drop them in.
They sink.
Wait. Whoa. Are they sinking or floating?
Floating.
That was kind of tricky because they started going down at first like they were going to sink, but then they popped back up to the top. And now they're floating. I was wrong this time. If you said float, you were right. Float. There you go. Float. Play the float again. Whoops. Float. I almost dropped my clip.
What's C? I did marker master. That's okay.
They are floating. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So let's just think about some other things in our classroom. We don't have to try them, but we can kind of think about it. What about, oops, hold it with your hands, Casey, so that way it doesn't fall into the water.
That's in the fire.
I know, but can you keep holding onto it so that it doesn't fall in the water? Okay, what about if we put some blocks in the water? What do you think is gonna happen?
Float.
You think it's gonna float? Yeah?
Let's do that.
What if, let's just think about it for a minute. What if we put in Pete the cat? Do you think he's gonna sink or float?
This one?
No, the one by my desk.
Yes.
What do you think he's gonna do?
He's gonna like run away.
But he doesn't know how to run. He's just a stuffy. That's silly. What if we put in our friend Jaden? Do you think he's gonna sink or float? But what if we put him in a pool? What do you think will happen?
Float.
You think he will float? What if we had a big pool and we put some chairs in? What do you think will happen then?
Put a person on it.
Do you think the chairs would sink or float?
Float.
Float? You think they would sink down? I think they would probably float.
Maybe the whole house will.
Do you think a house will float in a lot of water? Or do you think it would sink? A flood, yeah. Do houses, when there's a big flood, do houses sink down into the water or do they just kind of float along the water? You think so? I think they kind of float down. Sometimes you just watch them float down the river.
No,